On the commodities market update for today, we are looking at domestic maize production and price. The price of maize is said to have jumped 87.5% from 40,000 naira per metric ton over a year and a half ago to 75,000 naira per metric ton today. Now let's look at this commodity with Desola Sumoni, one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company. Hello Desola, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello Maize, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
So maize price has been on the rise. How has this price increase fed into inflation over time?
Thank you for that question. Right, it's important to note that this price increase wasn't a sudden price jump, and it wasn't a sudden price jump or a spike. It was something that happened over time. So from Econ 101, we know that inflation is a persistent and a consistent rise in the general price level of goods and services. At the same time, this period under review, that is from May 2017 up until now, we have noticed that both headline inflation and food inflation were declining consistently. Now, this could be because they were declining consistently in spite of the increase in the price of maize. Now, this could be because the relative weighting of maize in the food basket is small. It could also be due to the fact that, it could also be due to the fact that averaging has dampened the effect of the price increase on headline inflation. Now, how this might affect the price of products which use maize as an input depends on the relative elasticity. For instance, if the product is price elastic, then the increase in the price of maize would not have a significant increase in the price of the final product. Because if the suppliers increase the price of the final product, then buyers would switch towards substitutes, and the total quantity demanded for the product would decline, and the revenue for the product would also decline.
Now, local maize farmers recently called on the federal government to ban the importation of maize to boost domestic production. What's your view on this?
It's interesting again to note that this is not the first time farmers are calling on the federal government to ban the importation of maize. While it is unclear if the federal government would grant this their request at this time, it is important to look at the economics of it. In my view, banning corn importation now will simply increase the price of maize in the domestic market. Data from the United States Department of Agriculture shows that Nigeria's corn production for the 2018-2019 marketing year is projected to be about 10.8 million metric tons. On the demand side, it is projected to be 11.2 million metric tons. So we can see a little bit of demand-supply mismatch there, but that is not the issue. Looking at the market, you'll see that the price of imported corn is cheaper than the price of domestically produced corn, and that is part of why we are seeing such huge imports of corn. Also, news from information from industry sources shows that domestic producers actually export corn to neighboring countries to get some form of foreign exchange. So there's this kind of interesting situation happening in the corn market. So in my view, I don't think the optimal policy choice now is to ban importation of corn, because I think it will raise the price and that would feed into inflation. I think what domestic maize producers should be looking at now is how to reduce the cost of producing corn by looking at improved seedlings, improved farming techniques, and for the central bank to actually improve or sustain this anchor borrowers program.
Now, in the recently released USDA monthly supply and demand report, global maize inventories and production declined. Meanwhile, consumption increased. Can you shed some light on that?
Right. So we are seeing a decline in production, especially coming from EU and the United States. For the EU, is reflecting declines in production in Germany, in Hungary, and in Poland, and also in some major growing areas in the United States. At the same time, we're also having increase coming from China, coming from Iran, Vietnam, and also the EU. So from our Econ 101, we know that once we combine an increase in demand together with a decline in supply, prices would increase. So, and we are already seeing this month to date, prices of corn has increased about 2.45%.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Desola. Desola Sumoni is one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company. And Malawians are rushing to exploit the gold discovered last year on the outskirts of the capital, Lilongwe. And small-scale gold miners are hoping to get rich quick before big companies take over. Periodically hit by severe food shortages and power outages, Malawi is struggling to contain its external debt and put its economy on a sound footing.
Wenzi Nkalima ditched his job as a watchman after a new gold rush in Malawi promised to bring in more money to look after his family. Now he spends his days in Natengen, on the outskirts of the capital Malawi, sifting through soil in search of small gold deposits.
I used to work as a watchman. My wages were only from hand to mouth. I was very poor. But with this gold mine, there is a big chance. I am already managing my family, and things look promising indeed.
Gold mined from Natengen is currently fetching around $34 per gram. It's proven to be a lifeline for the thousands of villagers who have flocked to the area to illegally mine the mineral.
I spend my time here, and on a daily basis, I am able to make enough money now, $15 to $50 per day, and that is how I am sustaining my family.
Gold panning has become increasingly attractive for many rural dwellers struggling to survive in the impoverished southern African nation. Malawi is yet to regulate artisanal and small-scale mining, although officials say they are working to change this.
The only problem that is there is that most of that mining is done illegally. Now, when it's done illegally, it means it's difficult to monitor environmental issues. And to make it worse, the trading of the minerals, it means, has also to happen illegally.
An illegal activity which is now taking place in Malawi, and we don't want it. That's why we say at some point they'll be ejected out of those places unless they follow the rules of the country.
According to the government official, a review of the 1981 Mines and Minerals Act had been finalized, and a bill was expected to be tabled in Parliament before the end of this year.
And finally on the program, Libya's top oil chief expects OPEC and allied producers to exempt the North African country from any future cuts in crude oil output. OPEC and its allies are considering cutting oil output in 2019 as the group is increasingly concerned about the potential for oversupply. Libya, along with Nigeria, has been exempt from cuts since January 2017 due to domestic conflict. Libya has been rebuilding its energy industry from damage inflicted since a 2011 revolt and collapse in central authority. The nation's production rose from 660,000 barrels a day in July to almost double that volume currently. And that's it on the program. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimizi Obi Iwabu.